Hello again, it's Cindy from the Port Huron Recreation Department. Today we're going to do some polar bear and snowman little projects, and it's going to deal with some puffy kind of paint. So here we go, we're going to get started right away. Okay, this first project is going to just be with some, to start out with some shaving cream and some Elmer's school glue. So just the regular old stuff. You can use any kind of shaving cream. This one actually smells, because I don't know, it's just what I grabbed. You can get some that doesn't smell, and then you won't be smelling the shaving cream on your hands all day. So even when you wash it, I think it still stays there. So we've got a bowl, a little stirring spatula, a brush, paper, some glitter, and then I made up a few accessories for this little snowman. We've got some Google eyes, some little puff balls, and I had some felt and some more felt that I actually swiped from a packaging something or another, but you know, I kind of, you know, I hang on to those kind of things. So basically you just start with some Elmer's glue, and for some reason my ears are popping today, so bear with me. The only way to get through that is just kind of try to sniffle it so that the ear pops. And if you guys have tips on fixing that, that'd be great. But here you go. This is about probably 1/8 of a cup of Elmer's glue, and you basically do half and half if this was kind of melted. So I'm just, you can see that's about that. Probably about, if you were to measure this, probably about 1/2 cup. And that's all the ingredients for this snowman here, for his body. Stir it up really good. Kind of looks like whipped cream. Don't eat it. If you do have the smelly stuff, it does smell good, but you just got to get something that you really enjoy. I know some people have sensitive noses. So just wipe that off. We got it mixed up pretty good. Set your spatula aside. And then you're just going to paint a couple circles. Glop it on to begin with, because it won't really go on too thick. So a smaller one, bigger one, and then a bigger one than that, and then just save a little bit in there for making some snow on the ground or some snowflakes that are falling. Work from the middle. Hold this and go out so that the snow or the foam touches the outside corners in a circle rather than being like a brushed on effect, so that it kind of gives you a round head. So you just keep swirling it. If it gets a little light in spots, just go over it again. So see how that gets kind of just splashed on there. You want to push it out like that. And if you just sit here and play with it, it'll work out for you. So you just fill in those little holes, because sometimes you push a little far down and then it wants to stay like that. And we all know that snowmen are not perfect circles in their little bodies. So it's okay if it's a little square. Push that out. Swirl it around a little. And you could mix glitter in with this to make it kind of sparkly, but I would rather you just sprinkle it on top after you get this all painted. Do a ground, some snow on the ground there. So you're kind of tapping it so it kind of falls off your brush a little. And it's going to be thick and raised. That's how it's supposed to be. Puffy paint, kind of. You could mix food coloring in with this too and actually use your fingers if you wanted to do a different style of painting. If you don't want to just do a snowman. So I'm doing this just to get little snowflakes out there. It's just little piles of snow. See if I can get a little more out there. Oop, that was a big one. A little hard to control, but it's art, and that's okay. It's cute. Gonna be cute anyway. I'll put one more up there. So that's it. That's what your guy's gonna look like. Just when you put him out there, freshly made snowman. So we've got some glitter to put on him. And I've got this little cake pan that I'm going to put this piece in. And then shake the glitter onto that so that I don't have a big mess. And this is just the iridescent glitter. Pop that open and tap it. Just kind of sprinkle it lightly. You can kind of see it falling, I think. It's okay if this paper's bent. You don't want to leave it in here because if it moves, it might kind of distort your snowman. So here he is, all glittery. You can tap this off into the garbage can. There. And then set that aside and let it dry for a while. I made another one ahead of time so we can add stuff to it. Aside to dry way out of the way so the animals or other people don't get into it. Here's the one I made earlier. He's still drying a little bit, but you can see it's kind of setting. I can actually touch it now. It feels like a marshmallow. Just keep letting it dry, but in this state I think I can go ahead and add his embellishments, which are his little nose and eyes. And this is just a piece of felt that I cut into a like a teardrop shape. That's for his nose, and then I got these little puff balls for his buttons. And I had smaller puff balls to make a mouth. And then I had the Google eyes and this little hat that is felt from something. I don't know, it looks like it got peeled off of something. I really don't know. But, you know, if you keep your eye out for things like this, you can always use them in something else, repurpose them. So I'm going to go ahead and glue his hat on. We'll do that so I don't cover up that little bit of snow. I think I'm just going to glue it on with some, let's see, what do we have here? Probably some Elmer's glue. I got some Elmer's glue in the regular squeeze bottle. So I'm going to just put it directly on his head like this. Hopefully it'll take, because I kind of want it to stand up and not rest on the actual piece of paper. Just push that down a little bit. Let's see if that takes. Of course, I'll be putting up a picture of this when we're all done. I'm going to start with his little buttons / pom-poms. Put one down there. I'm just pushing it right on in there. Okay. Whoopsies. All right. Drop that right on there. Got some tweezers here to pick it up. Since it's pretty dry, it's not going to stick. So like I said, wait a little bit so it can dry. If you have a hard time putting these things on there, of course, use some tweezers too. Go with the eyeball. Yeah. Right over here. And I got a little bit of something on there. I'll wipe that off later when it's all dry. Just some tips for you. That way things will stay nice. Drop that eyeball. Slide it in the spot we want it. And these are googly eyes, so they can go kind of all over. And I'm going to actually push this one in. Because you know, a lot of people / animals have eyes that drop in. We want his nose to go out like that. Let's see. We'll start with his mouth. I'm going to just make a little smile. A line. Like that, right on there. And pop these guys. Start with the one in the middle. That way, you know you got it centered if you do want it centered. I had 5 of these. So, there's a smile. We want his nose to go that way. Or that way. That's kind of cute that way. Alright, so it's going to go in there on a little bit of an angle, and I'm just going to press it in there, kind of like with my nail. It's okay if it covers up the eye a little bit, but see how it sticks out a little? So I'm going to set this aside and let it dry, and then when I'm all done, I'll take a picture, and that'll probably be the cover shot along with the other thing that we're making, and that's it. Little snowman. Little puffy paint snowman. Again, remember, you can always add some food coloring to this as you're making it. And then you can have, you know, make a few different colors too and make a collage or whatever. Could make it brown and make it a bear, a teddy bear, a wreath with green. Alrighty. So the next thing we're making is a little polar bear scene. It goes like that. And to make these, we used shaving cream and coloring, food coloring. And so we've got the shaving cream. And the food coloring here. Set these aside. I'll put this over to the side too, because we'll come back to this. Started with some white cardstock. And I ended up with these kind of swirls patterns on there. And the progression, I just kind of started playing. I mean, I could have stopped right here. This was the very first one that I did. But then I went and I did this because I ended up mixing it up a little bit more. And then as you mix it more and more, the colors kind of fade and blend together more. So I did that. I think I might have added a little bit more color here at this point, but that was after I mixed this all up again. So I think I got the shading in here a little bit more. Then when I did this one, I put another white piece of paper on here and I picked it up, and then I think I just put it right down on another one. We'll do this together. So I'll figure out what I did. Basically do the same kind of thing. So Valentine's Day is coming up, and I figured I'd just make some different colors for this demonstration. And you could use those paper, you could use the blue colors that I used. I basically had like this cyan color and then this deep blue, and I had a green, a little bit of green in there. That's how I did these papers. So that was the colors for those. So I was doing that for the wintry scene. And then this time I'm going to use the yellow and the pink and the magenta for a Valentine's Day type theme. Probably not a whole lot of yellow, because usually when you mix the yellow with a reddish tone, it's going to end up being orange, and Valentine's Day is not necessarily orange. If it ends up like that, we could always use it as a springtime piece of paper. So get out this little tray again and shake up your shaving cream, spray it in, I'm coating the bottom. There can be holes, that's okay, because you're going to stir it. I have this little plastic spoon. You can use any kind of spoon. Just put a few drops all around. I'll go for this color. Okay, that looks pretty evenly distributed. Do some there. Okay, and then we'll add a little bit of the yellow, just a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to kind of swirl this together. Just like that. Kind of pretty. It looks really yummy, but don't eat it because it's not really food. It looks kind of like a candy though. Maybe like those ribbon candies. You can see that the pink is coming out a little bit more. You really want to have color on the very top if you can make sure it happens like that. If not, that's okay too. For this, you're going to want to have a whole bunch of paper towels kind of on standby just in case it gets really messy. So, got a whole paper towel roll here. And it's pretty mixed up. I'm going to go ahead and kind of curl this up so the middle touches first. And you're going to push down so it squeezes all of the foam, shaving cream, out, and you push out from the middle out to the edge and try to get the whole edge if you can. That gives you maximum space on all your colors. Once you've got it all pushed down and you can tell that it's all been covered, you can take an edge, take a corner over here. How about that? Or over here. Or over here. Come on. There. It's coming. So you can see. Oh, look at that. That looks so cool. But the funny thing is, it's not going to really look like that right now. Set this aside for a second. And put this down on your workspace. Already getting it all over me. Haha. That's the fun part. Alright, and I've got, you could use a plastic ruler. I ended up with this big one somehow. I don't know. But I'm going to use it to scrape across the top here. And I'm just going to move it, sliding on top there. You can see our little design coming through. I did this before on my stove in the kitchen. It's a glass top, so it was a little easier to maneuver and clean up. This is a little harder because what I'm doing over here is I'm wiping it into the bowl again. And try to get it as clean as possible, and then just wipe it off with a paper towel. Shaving cream's like soap, so it's pretty easy to clean up. And the food coloring doesn't necessarily get stuck on your tools here. It does get on your hands though, so just be ready for that. But it's just food coloring. Unless you're allergic to it, then you may want to have somebody else actually do this project for you. So I'm scraping off the rest of it. There's still a little bit on here that I'm just kind of wiping. That's pretty good. Let's wipe that off right there. Yeesh. Alright, get more. Alright, so we're going to wipe off the surface here and the surface of the paper. That makes it a little brighter. So this is our paper, ready for Valentine's Day. I think that turned out pretty cool. It even almost resembles little hearts, or a funny looking alien with a mouth and an eyeball way up there, and then maybe a Picasso painting. So I'll set this one aside and we'll jump on to another one. We're going to start with our pretty colors right here. And I don't want to mix this too much because I can already see that this might be maybe turning a little brown, because we've got what turned out to be a purple and a yellow. And when you mix purple and yellow together, they end up looking brown. So there's some stuff that has kind of ended up at the bottom. I'm trying to bring that to the surface. this around again, kind of flatten it out. And I think I'm just going to add a little bit more of the pinks to it, or purple, I guess, on the top. There's the pink. And then do the swirl again, one more time. So you can tell it's not exactly even all over, but when I push this down in the middle and then push out, I believe that it'll help it move to the outside of the actual paper. So I've got 2 more pieces to do. This one is going to be kind of like the last one, most likely. Put it in the middle, press down. You can see it squishes outward, and then push outward again from the middle. Push this out from the middle on this side. And you can see I got a little bit on there. That's not going to matter because it'll just wipe right off and dry up with the rest of it. Okay, just making sure everything is pushed down and we don't have bubbles. I'm going to find me a corner that I think I can lift up. And that looks pretty good right there. Get this out of the way. That actually looks like icing. Alright, here we go. This is what I did before. No, I did it this way. Put this piece down. Just like that. Watch your clothes because the food coloring might change them if you got white on. I've got purple, so I think it'll blend in. Okay. Then I took another piece of paper. This is what's going to give it that lined look. Start from the middle again. Gently press out. Only wondering where I'm going to put my piece of paper when I'm done moving it around. So let's see. Okay. All right, here we go. The reveal, kind of. So in theory, yeah, I had a bubble on this one, but that's okay. In theory, this one's going to have lines going diagonal. Side. I just don't want to hit it with this ruler. Okay, and then this one should look like a little more like this with the swirlies. So I'm going to start off on this side this time. Okay, that's looking pretty cool. Let's try it again. Pushing a little harder this time. Scrape it off into the pan so it comes off a little cleaner. And I'm going to try one more swipe here. Okay, there wasn't much there. Take that off. center. So there's that one. That one looks pretty cool. I'm going to set that off to dry. Let me check underneath real quick so it's not, yeah. Make sure it's not going to create another mess in here. Turn that over, just wipe it off. See, there's a little bit of foam there. Wipe that off. Okay. And then we'll bring this guy back in. So this is the one that I'm thinking is going to have a diagonal pattern. Incidentally, I do have wood around the edges, and wherever this is touching wood, it is staining. So remember to protect your surface. I always say that in all the notes there. I think the ruck does too. So I'm going to go on an angle just so I can maybe get that little spot right there. Oh, wow. Yeah, it doesn't really get that little spot, but it's okay. So yeah, it did kind of do an angle there. And that's just because I found that whatever kind of pattern is sitting on top of what you have is basically what's going to happen. So that's kind of a swirly angled one too. When you do this, it'd be fun just to play with it and see what kind of different designs that you can get out of it. So I would totally use this paper for like Valentine cards or something, or a frame even around a picture. So start thinking about that. I might go back to this and use some of this paper in something that we do for Valentine's Day. There's that one. Let me wipe this up and I'll show you all of them together. Just got to get this out of the way so we can finish up the project. All right, I'll put this up there. Maybe. Getting lots of dishes up there. All right, here's that one. And those two. So this was the first one. See, it's not as, you're still seeing some white through there because we didn't mix it up like we did in here. We added a little bit more color too, so I think that helped it transfer onto the stuff that's going to have different, or the mixed up muddy type look. And we saved it from turning brown, I think, also by adding some more pinkish colors in there. Something turned red there. I think maybe this is the reddish. Maybe. And then this might be the purple. And you can still see the yellows in there. It doesn't look orange, so that's good. Just gives it a little contrast. So there you go. Really cute. Now let's see what we did to make this. So here's our other papers, and if you compare, you can kind of tell this was our first one from there, our first one from there. Notice the white background. Then I believe it was this one, which was the darker color, like that. I did add more color in this transfer. And then it was this where I did the squishing on those two. So that's how that works. This one might have just been done afterwards and I scraped it off again because I kept mixing it up again and again. And actually in this I'm actually seeing some bubbles. So if you go back, maybe if you wait a little bit and go back, you might end up with some neat kind of bubble looking things in there too. So for this little polar bear, he is actually my hand. Minus the fingertips because I kind of have a big hand. I know that you kids out there are going to do a much better bear because they'll probably be a little shorter like normal polar bears are. This guy's pretty tall. I think he's a basketball bear. So I put some paint on my hand. I kind of painted it on. Made sure I got all the spots. The inside, this may not touch. Mine did not, so I had to fill it in a little bit with some extra paint there. You gotta also make sure that you get the bridge of your thumb. And I did the part that touches things more. And then when I pushed my hand down, I actually rolled my thumb like that to get his face. Otherwise you get this line and it just looks like a line. So get his little puffy head face there, you just push your thumb down. And then I had my fingers going off the edge. And when I cut out the paper, I just ended up, that was actually my pinky, I kept the pinky. But I just kind of stopped where, like my finger has the little joints right there. And that's how I made it for an adult version. I added, with a Sharpie, some little ears, a nose and a mouth, a little tongue hanging out, and some eyes. Let the paint dry, of course, and then you can start drawing on him. Put little dots for his little whiskers, and he can have little ear, the little pink part there, and then he's got a little tail. You can make that fluffy if you want. I put little claws down below. So that's how I did my bear. And then for all this back here, these are the little icebergs. I just cut out of these papers. I just made funny shapes. You know, icebergs are all kinds of shapes and stuff. I used the paper, like different papers, so that you could see the different ones there. These were all this one. And then I made with the diagonal these, so it kind of looks like snowdrifts. And then I just put it all together with some double stick tape. I left the edges kind of up so that it gives it a little more depth when you're looking at it. Same with the bear. I only put a little bit right in there. And so that's what he looks like. So there you have it. This was our projects for today. Our papers. And let's check our snowman too. There's those guys. And where did he go? I hit him. Hit him really good. Nobody's going to get him. Oh, here we go. Here he is. Still feels wet on the back, so I'm not going to touch him, but there's the snowman and the little polar bear. I think that is in your vision. Let's check and make sure. Oh yeah. So there we have it. Thanks for joining me. I hope to see what you guys have made. Please post it on the Facebook page or wherever, and tag the rec department so they know. And then I look forward to any questions, or if you guys feel like you want to do something else, you've got some ideas, please let us know. We appreciate it. All right, take care. See you next time. Bye.